My name is Ella, and this is my creative writing channel, Critical Storytelling, where I use critical analysis to help you tell your story. And I wanted to cover a few ground rules today in case anybody has a writing in progress that they're already working on or you'd like to get started. 3 basic rules that I have are: do not use AI, it is a crutch. Do not use second person pronoun you. That is also a bad habit. And it's distracting, I think, is the reason that it was taught to me as the first rule. Technically, it was the first rule of creative writing that I learned. And then third is to avoid heavy subjects for the sake of saying, well, if I write about the perspective of someone from the Holocaust, for example, then that will make it good writing because that's a really serious subject and therefore it would have to be appreciated. All right, so the reason for no AI, I had a video on this and I made a short out of it, but I don't think I uploaded the video because it wasn't that good overall. The reason to avoid AI is because there have been studies that show that the use of AI to write anything results in a cognitive decline. There's no opportunity for memory recall, and if you want to tell a good story, then you want to make sure that you have a good grasp of everything that the reader or the listener is experiencing from beginning to end, because you want to be able to, you have to write the story before you can edit it. And so if you don't have like almost a visceral experience of your writing process and every step in it, then how can you make it better? When you need to take the chance at some point to say, this has to go, or let's make this a little better. And using AI, you're taking something that did not come from you and relying upon it. There may be opportunities for you to edit the AI to make it better, but chances are that AI model was built on something that didn't make mistakes, that used good writers to build the AI. So, but it's not going to be your style. And that's how you get to be a good writer, is having your own style. But you can only do that once you've mastered the ground rules. So, which brings me to the number one first rule of creative writing that I ever learned was do not use second person. This is a basic crutch that we want to avoid if we want to develop good style. Eventually, and there is good writing that includes second person, but like I said, how will you be a master of your own style of writing if you haven't learned at least how to do it well by following the rules? Because I'm a traditionalist, and I want to touch on the second person a little more, because avoiding that is a good way to create good balance in the story, that you can still make it a personal experience without directly addressing someone. And so there's there's reservation in the process and in the art form, I think, that gives a better result overall, just while we're starting out here. And okay, so moving on to do not write about the Holocaust if you have never written anything before. It is not a good place to start with any kind of historical fiction, to pick the most absolute depressing or serious matters such as child abuse. this is not the opportunity to exploit people, humans who have suffered a great deal. We don't want to capitalize that to make up for something that we lack. So it's better to find something mundane, find something not so serious to begin, to get experience, to develop your inner voice, your personal style. And there are many things to write about without like gravitating towards the heavy subjects. It is a mistake. There's no logic that follows from, well, if I write about something that is incredibly important, then my writing will be good. That's non sequitur, I think, is what they call that in logic. So, just to review, no AI, no second person, and no heavy subjects to begin. If you're starting out writing, this is a good place. And so you follow those rules until you master that. And then with the spirit of writing for out of respect for the human condition and not to exploit it. And then balancing, this is where I was my conclusion, is to balance tradition with open-mindedness. So it's also mistaken logic to think that just because it's creative writing, you can do whatever you want. That is not logical. Just because something is creative doesn't mean that it can't have rules. And as a matter of fact, if you think of a garden, something that grows, something that is alive, it will be tended to in a way that has discipline with understanding. And the last thing I think that ties all of this together is that it is simple. Good writing is simple, and these are simple rules to follow, but they are not easy. And, we don't want that. That's not why we're here. Because chances are, if it were easy, there would be nothing to gain from it. I'm sure that when we think about our favorite stories, the work that has been put into that process, the sacrifice that has been made for that to be effective and stay with us, like long-lasting impressions that we can have for the rest of our lives as humans, to recall how that made us feel and take it forward, is a lot of work went into that process. So I hope you found this helpful. 3 ground rules for good writing. Thank you for listening.